Well, my name is Jeron Grayson, also known as Hiro, from New York City. I represent a gaming company known as Arcadia and Kick Punch Block. Well, I've been playing fighting games in the community since my first tournament in 2002. And I've been playing ever since. But of course, I've been playing when I was younger. I started on Street Fighter 2, all the OG games, all the classic games. And then competitively since 2002, which was ECC 6, my very first major tournament. Winter Brawl is great. I've watched actually Big Eric's event from when it was from NEC. It used to be called March Madness, Summer Jam. And I watched it excel. I watched the players, come and go, different types of players. It's a great thing. It's a great event. Eric has always been like a pioneer for the East Coast in terms of the fighting game community. He's always tried to make it bigger and better than what it was previously, and that's exactly what he did. Winter Brawl is no exception. It's a great event. Like I said, the events just keep getting bigger and bigger every year. Well, I'm in winners in cross Tekken, so I'm in winners, and I didn't do too well in AE. I really didn't put too much time into AE like I should have, so I didn't really get to, really going like I wanted to. But at the same token, I did win teams with Dominion and Sanford, so that was pretty cool. I think it's a great game. If you're like into footsies, you're into spacing, heavy matchup synergy, stuff like that, you'll definitely get into cross Tekken. It took a lot of heat in the beginning, and of course they had to make revisions. I played it since revision 1.00 up until 1.7, and then currently 1.08. And cross Tekken, I guess in time the tiers changed, but overall the game mechanics have been the same. 2013 is a little different. It's a lot more balanced in terms of the tiers, and it's definitely a game anybody could get into. If you come from a CBS2 background, a Super Turbo background, anything, you can pretty much, Marvel, you can definitely get into cross Tekken. I think Street Fighter 4 has lost its luster, and more people are getting into it and accepting 2013. Whereas, people are probably looking for the next Street Fighter game. They're looking for Street Fighter 5. Where cross Tekken has so much room to grow. It's in the beginning stage in terms of people really getting into the game, accepting the game, and wanting to develop with the game. So it has a long way to go. This is only the beginning. Street Fighter is kind of like in its present stages. Everyone really knows, familiar with the system, really familiar with the characters. And now in cross Tekken, with it being a lot more balanced, a lot more character variety, a lot more matchups. So there's definitely a lot more to learn in cross Tekken and to develop higher as a player to get to that level. Well, my main is Rufus Chun-Li. I also play Gao sometimes, Gao Chun-Li. I've played Dictator Chun-Li in the very beginning, 1.0 up until version 1.05. And it wasn't really working out for me because I had to really focus on matchups as opposed to team synergy. So I looked at, of course, EG, which of course gets the credit for the team, Rufus Chun-Li, and Rufus fits my style. So I said I picked a better team than Rufus Chun-Li to get it, and I've been playing it ever since. It does. The gems will change tiers around slightly. It will change the way you have to approach. For instance, I play the defense gems. The reason I play defense gems is to counteract the power gem. So once the power gem activates, all right, there's a condition in the defense gem where if you block 5 times and it automatically activates. Then there's one that activates after 10 times blocking. I want to always have that because I don't want to take mega damage from the power gem. I already have good defense, so I feel like when they finally do hit me, if they do hit me, I have the defense gem to nullify the power gem to make it balanced, to make it even. But then if they don't have the power gem and I have the defense gem on and they do hit me, it's going to have a damage reduction. So I'm not going to incur much damage. My team has about 1,800 health, so if you hit Rufus, I'm not going to really be doing a mega damage, and I have potential to come back. Absolutely. If you have somebody that hits really weak, let's say even Elena, if you really want to hurt somebody, somebody with a high HP character like Hugo, you're not going to really do a lot of damage. Not to say Elena does low damage, but if you want to hit them, you want to add a power gem to Elena, make sure you do that damage to Hugo. It's going to definitely make a difference because a lot of times people are going to have trouble closing out matches. And that will definitely make a difference if you add that power gem to it. The speed gem also works. There's a lot of variety of gems, but the speed gem helps characters that are really strong in footsies, like Dictator, characters with good walk speed, Claw, Chun-Li. You can use that to your advantage to try to close out the gap. It is actually more like ST, where people are going to have a collection of characters. Unless you're really strong with your main, like the reason I play Dictator Chun-Li is because they cover whatever matchups Dictator has difficulties in, Chun-Li can cover. Those are two characters I also enjoy playing. Those are two of my favorite Street Fighter characters, and I generally play characters that I like in fighting games. Now, until it gets to the point where it becomes a problem, where I'm losing consistently, then I'll consider switching. But my mentality as a player is that I'm always gonna stick it out with my character just to make me mentally strong as a player. And in Japan, they have that mentality where in Super Turbo, when they ran back, their character lock. Me coming from my Super Turbo background, I got into CBS 2, and then Super Turbo was the game I played right after that. So I learned a lot from the OG players. They taught me a lot about, people will always run to the most favorable matchup, but if you can stick with your main and fight out your difficult matchup, then it will make you stronger as a player. And there will be situations where people will feel like they can just counterpick you. The counterpick won't work because you're already accustomed. You're already strong with your character. You're already accustomed to the counterpicking system and the counterpicking mentality. So that will just make you stronger as a player and get you farther, as opposed to just running to the best character. Now that doesn't work for everybody. That works for, it's different for everybody. So for me, and in particularly, it works for me. Sticking with Dictator Chun-Li in 2012. Well, I've known Triforce from way back, in the 90s, 95, 96. And, he had a vision to gather the best players and unify them under one brand. Now, back then, of course, that wasn't the case. We were, younger back then. We were just, into playing the games, competing with each other, and, displaying our skills amongst us. Until it got to a point where we started traveling, going to Chinatown Fair, going to, Nathan's different arcades to display our skills to other people. And then, in turn, he took that idea and created the company Empire Arcadia late in 2004, 2005, I believe. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. And when I saw that, it's always coming up with Sanford and then seeing the guys. It was also like a family thing because I'd known them so closely. And then people will, say, well, you haven't really been traveling, or you haven't really been sponsored. Not true. People won't really look into the overall spectrum of things. For me personally, I don't travel because of, if the situation comes up, or if I feel like I'm ready to try traveling, I will. And with Empire Arcadia, it's like I said, it's just a big family. We all support each other. We all look out for each other, and in turn, that's what's gonna help, just the scene grow. Okay, well, I've known Rodney, the leader of Kick Punch Block, from back in the arcade. I used to go back in the day. When I used to go to the arcade, I saw him recently, a couple of years back, and he said, he has his group, and, he'd love for me to be on board. So, of course, I'm with EMP, so, as long as that's not a problem, I have no problems helping out, trying to get something to expand. So I jumped on board, I met the guys, they're all great people, and I've watched them develop, coming from a small thing, growing up. They started doing events and, basically just expanding their name. And I said, if I could do anything to help them, help out, I could do it. I don't really care about the reputation, people kind of say, well, if they're not sponsoring you, then why are you on a team? It's not about that for me. I have a totally different mindset. I'm more philo, when it comes to just growing as a player and helping people expand. That matters more to me. And then everything else that comes with it, if it's a bonus, I'm great. So tournaments started out where you had to go to the tournament. If you wasn't at that tournament, you couldn't see or know what the player was doing. You had to wait for a VHS tape or something. Eventually, as they grown, people started having camcorders, recording them, uploading them on YouTube. The next step was YouTube. Then streaming came along a few years after. And then people were more exposed to catching in. I come from, a place where there wasn't no streaming. They were just, like I said, you had to be at the tournament to either, develop or see what they were doing. So now it's a lot easier to get into games now because of that. It's a lot easier to studying a particular player, they say X copy, you know, people would do it before. It was a lot harder to X copy players back then. Now it's a lot, not to say everyone does it, but you can definitely implement your game a lot easier in these games in this day and age as opposed to now. So the scene itself is growing, it's been expanding, and you know, like I said, I've watched it from a small major tournaments to like big major tournaments like this, like winning Brawl. Where we started out like ECC 6. That was a huge thing for me because that was the very first 125-man Marvel tournament, Marvel 2 tournament. And I said, you know, when I saw that, I said, this is something that I want to get into. This is something that I see myself developing in the future. And it's going to be a big thing, and it has definitely gone on since then.